that's what you want to call it. Today I am back. I was discharged from hospital yesterday, so it's been a bit of a confusing couple of weeks, to say the least. So I had my surgery on the 14th of this month, so 14th of April. I had my gallbladder out on Friday, and so whilst I was in theatre, whatever, they did the operation. They told me when I was woken up I went down to surgery about 3ish, 3:30, something like that, after putting my gown on and whatever. Went down, had the gas on my face. I was hooked up to all sorts of stuff, to be honest. I had somebody put a cannula in my wrist. It was there, right there. And then they said that they were going to start pumping fluids through me. And so then they put this mask over my face and they said it was just oxygen, it was just to help me breathe. And then next minute they were talking to me about Charlie and Daisy because they were just asking how the kids were, how old they were. And then next minute I'm waking up and I'm in a completely different room. So obviously the stuff that they put over my face was the anaesthetic to knock me clean out because I don't remember anything after that. But anyway, I woke up about 6:30ish and all I remember was the doctors telling me that there was a complication during the surgery, but because of the time, all the doctors and surgeons had to go home. So I was told I had to stay in hospital overnight. So I was in there until the Saturday. I had a drain put in me, which was because of the complications or something. But I wasn't fully aware for what the complications were because there was no one there to tell me. I was just passed on a message because obviously it was a Saturday, so no one was able to tell me. Anyway, so that was fine. I was discharged on the Saturday, all fine, come home, very, very sore, very tender. You know, I was just happy to be home. The Saturday, I was fine, I was home, I was just very sore, went to bed, woke up on the Sunday, still very sore, obviously, going to be, just had surgery. You know, they sliced me open here, through my belly button. I've got another one about here, and then another one about here, which is where my drain was. So I did write in my notes actually, so I'll have to go back through them and then I'll fill you in a bit later on. But on the Sunday I was again just very sore. You know, I was constantly going to the toilet, needing a wee constantly, and so I thought nothing of it. So I phoned the doctors up on the Monday morning and I said, listen, like, I'm literally going to the toilet every 5 minutes and I'm dying for a wee. Like, I feel like I need to go for the toilet so badly. And so I go to the toilet and I'm sat there for a few minutes and what I'm actually weeing is next to nothing. And it's driving me insane because every so long, maybe 10-15 minutes, and I'm back on the toilet having a wee. And it was really frustrating me. So they said to come down to the doctor's surgery and then they'll have a look at me. You know, they asked me to try and do a wee sample, but typically I couldn't wee. Again, I felt I needed to go for a wee, but I couldn't wee. And so they put me on antibiotics, saying that they reckon I have a water infection. So I was on antibiotics. It was only a 3-day course, so it wasn't too bad. On antibiotics, that was fine. Come home, I started, you know, not needing to go for a wee as badly. And then when I was on the toilet having a wee, I felt like after I'd finished my wee, I needed to go again, and I'd sit there for longer waiting to go for a wee, but nothing was happening. Anyway, fast forward on to the next day, the Tuesday. No, actually, we went down to 90 and Tidy's Monday night, and out of the blue, I was sick. Just randomly started throwing up. I felt really sick. The next minute I was spewing, but it was just water. And so that happened when we were at 90 and Tidy's, and then it also happened again a bit later on at night. I was sick again. And so I phoned the doctors up again on the Tuesday and I said, listen, now I can't hold anything down because come Tuesday morning, I was sick 3 more times. And I phoned the doctors, I was like, I can't keep anything down. I'm throwing up constantly. And so they said, right, okay, just keep it monitored. If you feel like you're getting any worse, call us back and then they'll see me. But after that, it did kind of simmer down and it was all right. Fast forward on to the Wednesday. I was still having this constant urge needing to be sick. And then I started having a bit of a pain again. So the doctors asked to see me. So I went back to the doctors. And then the doctor said he didn't feel happy sending me home on just more painkillers. So he admitted me to hospital. So from the Wednesday, I went down to hospital after having a doctor's letter. Oh, also, this is probably TMI, but I couldn't go for a poo. I couldn't go for a poo. I felt I needed to go, but I couldn't. So I was very constipated. And so that was another lovely, very, very lovely thing to have to deal with. So they prescribed me Laxido. And so I was having my Laxados, still nothing. I'm telling you now, it's horrible stuff. It's blech. And so from having the constipation, constantly being sick, not being able to go for a poo, they admitted me back to hospital, and having the pain. They admitted me back to hospital with a doctor's letter. The doctors did phone the surgeon, the surgical team at the hospital whilst I was in the room. They said I was getting quite jaundiced again, so my eyes were going yellow, my skin was tinged yellow again, and so I thought, oh my God, I'm having another relapse. I'm having another problem. So I came home, I packed a bag with my dressing gown, my slippers, and just a couple of bits and pieces that I might have needed overnight, just in case, because you don't know how long you're going to be in hospital for. So I went back down to hospital. Tidy took me back down there. I was waiting in A&E for 27 hours. 27 hours I was waiting in A&E for, on a chair in the waiting room. I'd been triaged within 15-20 minutes. I was triaged. And then about 10 minutes later, they called me back through. I had a cannula put in my arm, but they had to attempt to put a cannula in me 3 times before they got it. They tried in my arm. They tried in my little hand, in the side of my hand where they had it in hospital. Nothing. So in the end, they managed to pick up a vein on the side of my arm. I don't know whether you see that slight bruise right underneath the elephant's bum, but that's where they managed to put a cannula in yesterday, when I was in A&E. And then I was waiting to be put on a drip because I was being sick again, so I needed to be put back on fluids. It must have been a good 14 hours before they put me, not in the waiting room, but in the corridor. They put me on a drip there. They put me on the drip. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning, they put me on a drip, and then they gave me this little syringe with Oromorph in it to help with the pain. And they said, just take that when you feel you need to. I was like, right, okay. So then they said, right, you go back in the waiting room. You're going up to the surgical ward very soon. There's a bed ready for you. So I was like, right, okay, sound. So I went back in the waiting room about 12 o'clock dinner time. Bearing in mind, I'm still very dehydrated. You know, I'm still struggling to keep water down. I can't eat anything. And they've told me, don't eat anything. Just try and drink as much water as you can to keep your body hydrated. So I'm back in the waiting room, 12 o'clock dinner time on Thursday. I didn't get a bed until about 9 o'clock at night on Thursday night. I kept going up to the people in the hospital asking whether the bed was ready, but they said, no, there's no beds ready. We're still waiting for a bed. We're sorry, you got told that the bed was nearly ready, but it's not anymore. And then they said that there's one person in front of me. I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to have to keep, I'm very uncomfortable at this point. My back's hurting. I feel like my back's being stabbed. So I was very I was in a lot of discomfort at the time. Anyway, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 9 o'clock, something like that came at night time, and I had actually fallen asleep in the waiting room because obviously I was taking the morphine, and then I was told that I needed just to wait. So I sat on the chair and I ended up falling asleep. And then they came through to me and they said, listen, your bed's ready, let's go. So I got up. Yeah, so I went through to the ward where the bed was. It was in like SAU or something like that, straight from thing. They put me back on another drip. and then I was able to get some sleep. And then fast forward to the morning, I was constantly put on different drips. When one bag had finished, they put me in another bag, and then another bag, and then another bag, whatever. I don't know how many bags it was, but there was quite a few. And then I was told that I was moving up to the surgical ward. So I packed my stuff up, and then I was moved back up to a different ward, and that's where I was then. And so I was on that ward for I was there for 8 days in total. Hey guys, so I'm just coming to edit this video when I realised I stopped mid-conversation and didn't even finish what I was saying. But basically I was moved to the surgical ward, and that's where I stayed for the remaining time of my stay. And so I was just constantly put on drips. I was having blood tests taken from me, and I was told to be on clear fluids for the majority of the stay. So there was a few times where I was able to have like me breakfast, or I was able to have me dinner or me tea, but it wasn't every day. I was on clear fluids the majority time of things, and I only managed to get pictures, as you may have seen in the start of the video. So yeah, I was just in the hospital being monitored. I had painkillers. I was being given painkillers to help with the pain. I did actually have an episode in the hospital where I was in agony. I was up every single hour, and I was in so much pain. They ended up putting one of my painkillers that was prescribed to me, happened to be the Oromorph, and they prescribed that every 2 hours because I was in agony. You know, I would have preferred to be in child labour, to be quite honest, because I was in agony. And they'd come to the conclusion, after having scans and blood tests, etc., that I had a pancreatitis. And when I was having these episodes of being in pain, it was because I was passing stones that was missed. So basically the complication of the surgery was, when I spoke to my surgeon whilst I was in hospital, he said to me there was a complication. He was trying to explain to me in a way that I'd understand, but in all fairness, I still don't quite understand. But what I managed to get the gist of was every single gallbladder is different, every body's different, blah, blah, blah. And so there's like things attached to either side that goes to like the main something or other, and if they cut too close, they might end up cutting something that's very important, and it could cause even more problems. So what the surgeon told me is he cut as close as he could where he felt was, you know, the closest he could get, which was fair enough. You know, he said this happens. It's not a rare thing. It's one of those that happens sometimes. You know, I'm clearly not a textbook body, as they would say, but the way he explained to me is when he's cut off the gallbladder, obviously he's had to leave so much on because it wouldn't have been safe to remove the entire thing. And so the surgery should have taken an hour, but I was on that bed for an hour and a half. And so he said that he was trying to be as thorough as he possibly could to remove all the gallstones so the problem would stop, as well as whatever the gallbladder he could take out. And so he reckons that the episodes I'd been having after having my gallbladder removed was just stones that may have popped out and gone into the ducts without him noticing, or, you know, it's just one of those things. And so he reckoned, so the hospital all reckoned that when I was having my episode one night whilst I was in the hospital for the 8 days, they reckon I passed a stone. And it explained the colour of my eyes, my skin, like the jaundice type of thing, and obviously the colour of my toilet. And so yeah, they reckon I passed the stone and that I've got pancreatitis, but they said there's nothing they could give me to fix pancreatitis. It's just the inflammation. So they told me, you know, they're happy to send me home. My blood results were improving by the day, and so they were able to send me home after the 8 days. Luckily enough, I was home in time for Charlie's birthday. As I'm recording this, we're currently on the 25th of May. Well, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, so only just the 25th of May. Yes, I am so far behind, and yes, I also do apologise. I've had an eventful couple of weeks, but if you're watching this to the end, make sure you stay tuned, because I have just joined something which is the beginning of a new journey. So be sure to stay tuned for the new videos that are coming out to find out what I've joined up for and how you can join too. But I'm going to end this video here because I'm absolutely exhausted. So remember to like this video if you did, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, make sure you click that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.